So, Hobart Johnstone Whitley. I was born in Toronto, Canada, in 1847. He died here in Los Angeles in 1931. He was 83 years old, if I remember correctly. Um, and he was, well, he got a job eventually working for as he grew up, he worked for the Rock Island Railroad. Very technical problems here for a second. He worked for the Rock Island Railroad, and he developed towns as the Rock Island Railroad came out west. Go west, young man, kind of a thing. So if you live in places like, in fact, I had to write some of these down because otherwise I would have just gotten confused. He created over 140 towns. Look at the map of the Rock Island Railroad and where the whole thing went out that way, and the Northern Pacific, things like that. And he was the creator of a number. He planned things. Oklahoma City, Chickasaw, Enid, Medford. When he got out here to LA, he liked it so much he opened a jewelry store downtown. He and his wife had the place up here. He started developing the land up here. He realized that coming through here, through the Cahuenga Pass here, this is the gateway, and how Mulholland was going to have the aqueduct finish here, and this is just an important thing to do here. This was going to be his last great development that he was going to make, was going to be this thing here called Whitley Heights. So with the help of a number of people, he created a thing called the Los Angeles Suburban Homes, and with people like Harrison Otis Gray, who was the publisher of the LA Times, and Chandler, who was his son-in-law with the Times, and Sherman, General Sherman, who was the creator of what became a town called Sherman. Sherman is what is West Hollywood, California, and they created everything going out here into the San Fernando Valley. That's why you have things that he helped create, things like Owens Mouth, which became Canoga Park, Van Nuys, Sherman Oaks, Woodland Hills, all these places. The last things he did, Corcoran, where the prison is, okay, up north. The last thing that he did was a place up by Paso Robles, and it's called Whitley Gardens. Streets are named after him and his family and stuff like that. So that's what Mr. Whitley did. Now, he's known as the father of Hollywood. And I've done a lot of reading about this, and in segments of this series we're going to talk about some different things about this. But keep in mind, so this is his whole property up here. Now what Mr. Whitley had up here was he built a band shell up here. And the band shell was when he would bring up prospective clients as he was selling the land up here, showing it. He had a band shell up here next to his house, and it had this lovely view, the Pacific view, looking out the Pacific out that way. You got the lovely view looking out behind me out this way. But here next to his house was an electric sign that lit up, and it said Whitley Heights. This is before the Hollywood sign. This man had a lit up sign before the Hollywood sign ever existed. You had the Whitley Heights sign right next to his house. And then right next to that was the band shell. Now the band shell, they would have music there. It's where they had the first, even before the Hollywood Bowl Easter sunrise service, they had the first Easter sunrise service in Hollywood here at the Whitley Heights band shell that was up here. And so he had all this land here. And you're going to see coming back around here, the front of the house. Now this incredible view looking out over here, and I did something kind of creepy. I actually took my camera, and I'll see if I can put it in here, figure out how to add it to this video. But I took my camera, put it over the wall to look down. But Mr. Whitley, the father of Hollywood, if you read, there's a book. The book is called The Father of Hollywood. It is by his great-granddaughter, and it's a fascinating book. I say fascinating because that's the best way I can put it. There's things about it I find a little bit odd, but that's completely about me. That's Whitley's house. That's the front. So you get the oranges, there's grapefruit here, but this is Hobart Whitley's house. So what you had here was you have Hobart Whitley's house, then you had the band shell over here. So there was the band shell here, and then the Whitley Heights sign, and the band shell going in the corner with the view looking over and looking out over to Whitley Hill across the other side there. Fortunately, a lot of the stuff is still here. They're really careful, but this is Whitley Heights is a historical area, thank God. And that's the research I'm doing for this thing. I'm getting a lot of real information about this. But this is Hobart's house right here. And when I was on the other side here, so what I did was I got my camera and I stuck it over the wall there, so I got a view looking out this way. But the father of Hollywood. Father of Hollywood died in 1931. He is buried at Hollywood Forever Cemetery. He is about 30 feet from his wife, Gigi, Margaret. She's buried right there with her grandson, but they're about 30 feet away from him. And it says Father of Hollywood. Now, don't get me wrong, this is the Father of Hollywood. Gigi, oddly enough, is not known as the Mother of Hollywood. That moniker goes to Beta Wilcox. And therein lies where all things go interesting one way or the other, as to creation and who came up with the name and things like that. But for right now, this is Hobart's house. And if I suck up to the guy enough, one of these days, maybe I can be nice enough and bring him a cookie or something and I can get a tour. I don't know. We'll see what happens here.